Creepypasta 2. The Boy Inside the Antique Wardrobe by Mark Watson. When I was small, maybe 6, maybe younger, I had an imaginary friend who lived in my bedroom, not beside my bed, not under it, inside the wardrobe. It was an imposing thing, that wardrobe. Taller than my father, carved from dark mahogany that drank in the light no matter how bright the room. Its doors bore swirling patterns of vines and wolves. Strange things that almost seemed to move when you stared too long. The hinges groaned like a sigh when opened, and the scent inside was always the same. Stale, damp earth. Like something buried. Like something trying to climb out. It had been in our family for generations, passed down like a secret. No one ever talked about it much. It just arrived when I turned 5, moved into my room with the gravity of an heirloom too old to question. And then the whispers began. Late at night, when the house fell silent, and the heater clicked to sleep. I would sit cross-legged in front of the wardrobe, my ear pressed against the door. That's when I'd hear him. The boy. He never came out. Never even knocked. He just whispered. Always from the other side, muffled, like speaking through layers of dust and time. I don't remember what he said. Not exactly. The memories are murky, like dreams left too long in the sun. Sometimes it was stories, dark fairy tales about children lost in woods that never ended. Sometimes it was warnings. Sometimes secrets. Things I never should have known. But I remember his name. Or names. They blurred together. Peter, I said once. Or maybe Patrick. I didn't think anything of it when I mentioned him at dinner one night. My mother barely reacted. She'd heard about my imaginary friend before and thought it was cute, normal, harmless. But my father... His fork slipped from his fingers and clattered against his plate. His face lost all its color. "What did you say?" he asked, voice low and tight. "Peter, or Patrick," I repeated, confused by the way he stared at me, like I had just recited a name from a tombstone he never wanted to see again. My uncle was visiting that night. He and my dad locked eyes across the table, and something unspoken passed between them. A quiet dread. I didn't understand it then. No one said another word about it. But the next morning, they were in my room. My father and my uncle standing beside the wardrobe with grim faces and gloves on their hands. They didn't ask, they didn't explain. They just lifted the wardrobe, this massive, ancient thing, and carried it outside. I watched from the window as they doused it in gasoline. The match my father struck barely touched the surface before the flames erupted, unnaturally high, hungry. The fire cracked and screamed as it devoured the wood, black smoke curling into the sky like fingers trying to escape. The scent that rose from the blaze wasn't smoke, it was something rotting, something alive. No one ever spoke of it again. Not until years later. When I was old enough to notice the way my dad always hesitated near antique shops, or how my uncle refused to stay overnight in old houses. That's when I asked. That's when I learned the truth. When they were boys, just about my age, they shared a room in their childhood home. And in that room was the wardrobe, the same one. At first it had been harmless, a curiosity, then it whispered, then it spoke. To both of them. Peter, or Patrick. He never seemed to have just one name. He was charming at first, they said. Clever. He knew things no child should know, names of distant ancestors, secrets hidden in family history, and he always spoke from inside the wardrobe, never outside it. Then came the dreams. My uncle was the first to suffer. Night terrors, screaming fits. He'd wake up choking on his own tongue, crying that the boy had crawled out and stood over his bed, his eyes wide and wrong, his mouth pulled back in a grin that never moved like a crack in porcelain. He said the wardrobe would creak open, slow and silent, even when locked. That something thin and pale would slither halfway out, watching. My father didn't believe him at first, not until he woke one night to find the doors wide open and his brother pinned to the bed gasping, with invisible hands tightening around his throat. He remembered the way the air turned icy, the way the room smelled like wet soil and old breath. They moved my uncle into another room. For a while the whispers stopped. The wardrobe stayed closed. Then I was born. Then the wardrobe found its way into my room. And the boy, who was never imaginary, began whispering again. Sometimes, late at night, I think I still hear him. Just beneath the edge of sleep, a voice, muffled by wood, by ash, calling from somewhere beneath the floorboards of memory. And I wonder, what if we didn't burn it fast enough?